Our next guest, always opinionated, hilarious on Twitter. He's the radio analyst for the men's basketball team. His name is Mark Durrant, and he's on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline. Mark, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, fellas. Thanks for having me on. Jason, happy birthday the other day, my friend.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Oh, yeah, happy birthday, Jason. We talked about it off the air, but, yeah, congratulations on being 28. That's awesome.
28. Jeez, I'm 27.
Yeah.
Mark, don't add years.
Mark, not a lot going on with BYU Hoops, but let's dive into it. First off, your reaction that Dave Rose was retiring.
Yeah, usually I don't hear from you guys after the season ends until, like, November. So thanks for having me on. Thanks, Dave Rose, for retiring so I could be on BYU Sports Station. That was nice of him. But I was pretty surprised, guys. I mean, I kind of felt like it was all coming to an end in the next couple years. Even before this season, I could see that the coaching was taking a toll on Dave, and I just didn't know if he would even want to, keep going for an indefinite period of time, which surprised me when I was in Reno for that Nevada game. I heard about the extension. I thought, well, I guess he does want to stay around for a few more years. But I'm not overly surprised. I thought maybe he'd want to finish out with the kind of the lone peak guys, TJ and Nick, and then call it quits. But I just think he's a bit worn down, and that's nothing against Dave. We all know what a fighter he is, but I think it was more about an inner feeling, and he's expressed this, that to be a college coach, you have to have a lot of drive, a lot of energy, a lot of commitment. And again, not that he didn't have those things, but I don't think he felt like himself he could give everything that those players deserved and merited. And I just think he felt like it was time to give someone else an opportunity that would have that drive and could devote what those players deserve. And so I think it was an introspective and family decision that he went through, and maybe kind of snuck up on him a little bit as he started to think about it. Like, maybe this is the right time. And so I was surprised. I was sad. Listen, we could go on and on about what a great coach Dave Rose has been, his numbers, but he's always treated me with such respect, and he has such integrity and honor, and the way he ran the program and the way he conducted himself and treated other people. What a great blessing it's been for BYU, the institution, and the basketball team to have someone like that leading the program and to have so much success.
Mark, let's bring the story to where we are today. BYU now looking to replace Coach Rose, going through interviews. Before we get into specific names, what is the biggest attribute or attributes you would want out of the new head coach?
By far, to me, Jason, the greatest attribute and the most important thing by far, in my opinion, in college basketball is to have someone that can really, really well, can get the athletes in that you need to be successful. You just get the best players that you can get, and then get some players that you shouldn't get. I mean, people want to talk about X's and O's and this coach and that coach is what a brilliant mind. Listen, basketball is not rocket science. It's pretty much, I'm going to put my 5 guys out against your 5 guys, and your 5 guys need to be better. Now, you can do a lot of things. You can execute better. You can game plan and strategize and all that. But if you're out there with playing 5 guys that are against 5 guys that are better than you, and you're playing the same style of basketball, you're going to lose. You need to get the best players. And not only do you need to get the players to your school, you need to keep them at your school, which has proven to be even more difficult in these times. So you have to continue to recruit them and convince them not to go anywhere else and stay for 4 years and all that kind of stuff. And so it starts with the head coach being a great recruiter and getting guys on your staff that can recruit. I'd like to see some diversity on the staff and get some African-American young men in the program. And I think that that's just, you need to have that. I mean, that's just how you can compete. And BYU does a good job getting some of those players, but they need to do an even better job. So be more outside the box in your recruiting thinking, go to places you haven't gone before, and that to me is by far the most important thing that BYU can get in a coach, is someone that has a real knack for recruiting.
Talking to Mark Durrant, radio analyst for BYU men's basketball. What do you think of some of the names on the list of potential candidates? Guys like Mark Pope, Barrett Peary, Quincy Lewis, Mark Madsen, Alex Jensen, Kevin Young, Dave Evans, and so on. I mean, obviously I know Mark Pope. He was at BYU. I love him. I would be over the moon if Mark Pope was the head coach at BYU. I think he's got good connections. I think he could develop talent and has an eye for talent. Good recruiter, like I talked about, has done a nice job getting talent into UVU. And I think the world of him as a person. Quincy, I love. Obviously, he's there already, and I played against him in high school. We've been friends a long, long time, and I think he's a great coaching mind as well. Barrett Peary, again, is another cohort. He played at Payson High under John Wardenberg and has had a nice coaching career. I like his style. It's exciting and fun style of basketball. I don't know as much about the styles of I just know of Alex and Mark from watching them play. I mean, what nice is that we have that long a list, and that I could be happy with any of those guys on that list. A lot is said about BYU and having to be an LDS member of the LDS church, and that shrinks your pool. But that's a pretty good pool to pick from. I think BYU's in good if you're looking at that group of men to be your head coach, and there's a lot of depth there and a lot of different ways you could go. So I don't have any insight as to who or who would be interested in the job even. I like the fact that we're talking about that group because I feel comfortable with everyone that you mentioned.
Look, Mark, I realize it would be a very difficult thing for you to walk away from doing the broadcast with Greg and specifically talking with me on pregame. But have you thrown your name into the ring in terms of being the next head coach at BYU?
I talked to Tom Homo at the basketball banquet and was a little bit shocked that he didn't kind of put out some feelers to me about being the next head coach. And I thought about putting that out there yesterday as April Fool's joke that I was offered the job, but I knew that nobody would believe that. But thank you for at least putting my name out there. That's all I want. Someone mentioned no, I'm not going to be the next. But thank you, Jason, for at least putting my name out there. Steve Kerr was a color guy before he got the job, and he's done pretty good at Golden State.
He's been okay.
So,
yeah, he's been decent.
He's been all right.
But, the days are no one's going to hire a guy that doesn't have any experience, and the lawyer translate too well into being a coach. So I'm going to officially take my name out of the running after Jason was so in there.
You probably make more than the assistants do now, let's be honest. Mark Durrant's on BYU Sports Nation. Without knowing who the head coach is, it's kind of hard to evaluate what we expect next year, but we kind of have a good idea of the players coming back. Granted, some could still transfer, who knows. But what are your early expectations for next season without knowing who the head coach is?
So I'm sitting there at the basketball banquet next to the great Jarom Jordan and his and obviously Dave Rose, we knew at that point that he was. I was 99% sure Yoli was gone. So I'm sitting there. I'm kind of just looking at the players and looking at each player and kind of where the program was at. And first I was a little bit down about it, but as I examined each player, I thought, well, the cupboard's not as bare as I thought. Obviously, you got T.J. Haws, who's going to be an all-conference, maybe an MVP player for you next year. So you got an all-conference player handling the ball. He was great this year. Probably be even better next year. You got Nick Emery, who's been very good. He struggled at times this year, but he'll have another year behind him. I expect improvement out of him. You've got Jesse Wade, who, by all accounts, is the best three-point shooter by far on the team this year in practice, and we'll add that three-point shooting component on the perimeter. You've got Gavin Baxter, who I think was tremendous talent and will, I think, improve exponentially over the summer. You've got Connor, games looked great at times, lost his confidence a little bit at the end, but he'll have a full summer of getting ready and getting back. Very short period of time off the mission to be ready for his freshman season. You've got some other guys coming in. You got Dalton, Nixon. Guys are going to get better. Zach Selius. Obviously, it's very difficult to replace a guy like Yoli Childs, but you lose guys every year, and guys have to. I remember as a freshman, I was the replacement for Mike Smith, so that I'm sure a lot of people were really confident about the team that year when this skinny little guy from Provo High was going to be replacing Mike Smith, and we were picked to finish at the bottom of the conference, and we ended up winning the co-title that year in the WAC and going to the NCAA tournament, and guys like Marty Haas and Andy Toolson stepped up and were amazing, and Steve Schreiner and Kevin Santiago and Mark. Go down the list, and it was a motivation for us to really want to step up and be good, because we had lost a guy like Mike Smith, and no one believed in us, and it was a motivation we had. That was probably my most memorable year as a player. What we're able to accomplish that year. So, long-winded answer is, yeah, guys are going to have to step up and be better, and guys coming in will have to make a difference. But I think it's an exciting challenge for the players and the coaches coming in, and I'm not going to count BYU out. I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if they won more games than they did this year, and they're back in postseason. So I'm gonna be positive and optimistic, knowing those guys and knowing what a new coach can bring, and the energy and excitement that they can bring, and how that can change a program. Now, that's also scary, because you're a new coach, sometimes it goes the other way. But I'm pretty confident in the guys we talked about and the players that are already at BYU.
Well, good stuff, Mark. We'll talk to you in November, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we got to have that Durrant barbecue,
yes.
And
yes,
we'll get you guys over there. That's going to happen this year.
That was one of the highlights of my life, Mark.
And now there's goats. There's goats since we were there last time.
I thought you were the goat, but you have goats. Yeah, so that'll be fun.
We got some goats, and if I do get named the coach, you guys are my assistants. So.
Ooh.
Upgrade.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I would like to recruit the state of Hawaii. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, thanks, Mark. We appreciate it.
Thanks, fellas. See ya.
It's Mark Durrant on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future. We're not kidding. He has goats. He owns.
No, he owns multiple goats.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's fantastic.